Hello and welcome to the seventh Skillsforce Career Talks. Today, I have a very special guest with me, and this guest is multi-talented. She's before you. I'll introduce her. She's Soundarya Lahiri Vedula, a corporate lawyer and a corporate strategist. A lot of corporate there. She completed her bachelor's in BA LLB with honors from the prestigious National Law Institute University in Bhopal. She was honored with 5 gold medals. That's a lot. Did you win all the gold medals that were there, Soundarya?
Yes, actually.
Clean sweep, huh? Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Awesome. So let me add to what other things you are doing, right? So after LLB, she worked as a mergers and acquisitions lawyer. M&A is a big activity when companies try to purchase other companies. They need a lot of legal information to see whether the deal is viable. So she worked as a acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions lawyer with she was working at Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas Advocates and Solicitors. It's a top tier law firm. She also pursued her master's in international business from University of NSW, Sydney, and obviously she graduated with a distinction. And she got married. She moved to Germany and is presently working for as a strategy associate at DressLife GmbH. It's a AI recommendation engine. So everything nowadays is AI, and she has jumped to the bandwagon. Um, so apart from her academic qualifications and all that she does, she is a professionally trained Kuchipudi dancer. Kuchipudi is the dance form from Andhra Pradesh, and luckily it is close to my maternal native place. And she has performed across the globe. Apart from her job, as all good citizens are, she has an inclination to give back to the society, especially the underprivileged. She has started a venture called as Mahaswana. I'll share the links of her website, her YouTube talks, and her courses, which are towards motivating the youth in our video when we upload it on YouTube. So a very warm welcome to you, Soundarya, and thank you for joining us. So, Soundarya, I know I have been watching your videos, okay,
Mhm.
and they are fascinating. Where do you shoot your videos?
Hello, Ganesh. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. And that's a very interesting question. Where I shoot my videos, I
Yeah.
actually shoot them right in my house.
Oh,
So I live in a society in Germany which has a lot of greenery,
yeah, I
actually,
see
right
that.
behind there. So me and my husband, yeah, he's mostly behind all of this. And yeah, we shoot all of it over there
So,
itself.
so is he a professional
No.
cinematographer or something, or you made him one?
I made him one. He's
Okay.
a mechanical design engineer by profession, turned a cinematographer because of me.
Oh, cool. So he learned a trade thanks to you.
Yes,
Great,
yes.
great, great. So, a very basic question, Soundarya. Like, our audience are all students, right? And especially, I have seen most of the likes, comments, and follow-up questions from these students are from female students, very specifically.
Mhm.
So, you will be an inspiration to all those girls who want to wear the black coat, go or wear the suit and walk into a boardroom where the majority is male dominated, and you prove your stuff, you stamp your feet and say this is how it is to be
Yeah.
done. So I want them to take inspiration from you. But my basic question is, what attracted you to law? Was it the movies, or you wanted to win over all the arguments?
Yeah, I often get asked this question about why law
Hmm.
or why management.
Hmm.
So, since my childhood, I was a very studious.
Hmm.
So, naturally, in my 12th grade, when I had to pick a career,
Hmm.
almost everyone assumed I would become an engineer or a doctor
Right.
because those were the two popular conventional choices
Yeah.
for anyone who is
Yeah.
generally good in academics at the
Yeah.
time. But since my childhood itself, I was very active in public speaking,
Mhm.
debating, and I somehow had this natural inclination to stand for people, to argue or like take their side and stand by them.
Mhm.
So I felt that law somehow was always in my blood. And but at that time, so usually the image of a lawyer is the at least is the one who wears this black coat and dramatically
Yeah.
screams in a court.
Yeah.
But upon speaking, like with our family friend, a really close family friend,
Mhm.
I realized that law is much more broader. It has various facets to it. And
Yeah.
one such aspect was actually corporate law,
Yes.
where one wouldn't go to the court, but they would
Mhm.
actually sit behind and advise
Mm.
businesses and these firms. So that sparked my curiosity, and I
Mm.
felt that this was a perfect blend of my
Mm.
strengths and my passion. So that's the reason I chose law. And yeah, my time at law school was very enriching.
Mhm.
It really made me grow as a person and learn so many new things. So yeah, that
Awesome.
was, I think, the key reason.
Yeah, awesome. So you were not in India in your schooling, right? And then you had
No.
to come down to India and join a law school, or were
Yes.
you in between in India as well?
No. So from my fifth grade to 12th grade, I did my schooling in Kuwait. So my
Hmm.
parents are settled here.
Hmm.
My dad works here. So yeah, I had to fly down to India, give the national level entrance. It's
Hmm.
called CLAT, the
Yeah.
Common Law Admission Test. And post that, yeah, I joined Bhopal.
Okay. So based on the ranking, you got a seat in
Yeah,
Bhopal.
yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
exactly,
Awesome.
exactly.
But when you were trying to do the CLAT, did you, do your own survey of which are the top law schools? Can you share that detail with us?
Definitely. Yeah. So this was around a 2 years project. So
Hmm.
somewhere around my 11th grade, we had started exploring for career options and we
Hmm.
zeroed down on law. And we did rigorous research on what were the top tier law schools in
Hmm.
the country, what are the entrances and so on. So upon our research, we realized that there were different tiers in it, similar
Hmm.
to the engineering institutes we see. So
Yeah.
we have the national law schools, which
Hmm.
are the top tier law schools in the country, and
Hmm.
then we have the tier two ones, you have some private schools, then you
Hmm.
have the local ones. So the
Hmm.
course I did is PA LLB Honors, which
Hmm.
is like a 5 year integrated course with
Yeah. Wow.
arts and law. So for the national law schools, which were 14 at the
Hmm.
time, but right now I think there are two,
Yeah.
three recent additions.
Yeah.
But so for that, there is this CLAT common national level entrance.
Hmm.
But apart from that, there are also some private institutes like Symbiosis, Amity, Jindal, and so on, which
Yeah.
usually have their own entrances.
Yeah.
So I had only given Symbiosis apart from CLAT, and I had taken 2 years coaching for the entrance. So there
Wow.
were two institutes, really famous institutes at that time, which was
Hmm.
2013.
Hmm.
So there was LST and Sriram
Hmm.
Coaching Center.
Sriram
So
is
I had,
famous.
yeah, it's pretty famous. So I had done this distant coaching, and whenever I would fly down to India, I would take the crash course like through my vacations and prepare for it.
So India was just for study, not for vacation, is
Yeah,
it? Oh my God.
no.
So it's very tough. So it shows how dedicated you were. And
Thank
when
you.
when you got into the law school in India in Bhopal, did you have any cultural challenges being brought in Kuwait? And did you adjust? Even I know you are a South Indian, so in Bhopal it is a very typical, North Indian mindset. Did you
Yeah.
have any issues there adjusting to the locals and the culture?
Yes, a lot actually, because in Kuwait, I think my life was very luxurious
Hmm.
because generally I would not even step out of my house to bring a packet of milk. I
Hmm.
was kind of raised in such an environment. So
Wow.
suddenly moving to India and that to a hostel where we have to do everything by
Hmm.
yourself, manage everything myself was, I or thought I would just break down, but because it was so different and difficult to manage. And yeah, even with respect to the locals, because Hindi, so I did study Hindi during my studies. Like
In
I
school.
did have it as in school,
Yeah.
but speaking, because most of them were North Indians somehow,
Hmm.
because law, I think, still somehow is dominated by people from the North, at least in
Hmm.
the national law schools. The
Yeah.
representation from South was very less at the time.
Mm.
I think it's improving now. So, speaking, firstly, language was, I think, a huge barrier there for me to get down and like freely communicate with people around.
Mm.
And especially in Bhopal, they speak very pure Hindi, like it's
Yes.
Shuddh Hindi, as we say. So
Mm.
even the auto drivers would tell time in
Mm.
Hindi.
Yeah.
So that was quite difficult for me to firstly break that barrier. But I think thanks to all the friends, and I think just the hostel culture is such that it teaches you to stay strong and like mingle with everyone. So I think with time, I adjusted like super well in
Yeah.
all that setup and like passed out with flying colors.
Yeah. If you have won all the gold medals, that proves that you are not distracted by anything. So that's great. So I have a what I when you say in the north it is predominantly Hindi and all, but especially if you look at our Indian legal system, okay,
Yeah.
uh, it's not merely Hindi. It is actually a lot of Urdu that gets mixed in,
Mm, hmm.
right?
True. Hmm.
And people who have just studied Hindi as a subject in school, so the textual, Hindi is different from what you speak, and what you argue in the courtroom has a lot of Urdu, so it
Yeah.
might be really tough. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this challenge I actually faced during work,
Mm,
because in the law school, usually, like when you learn from your professors or when you participate in moot courts, which are
mm,
like
mm,
these competitions where you have a judge and like a real sort of mimic a real
mm,
courtroom, there
mm,
you usually don't have an issue because things do happen in English.
mm.
But when you actually go to an actual court or the real court, the local language is so important. Like, as you said, you have a lot of Urdu
Yes.
references there. And if you go to actually a court in Andhra Pradesh or in Karnataka, they speak the local language, Kannada
Yeah.
or Telugu. So
Yeah.
if you're a litigation lawyer, it's very difficult to
It
navigate just
is.
in
It
English.
is. It is.
Mhm.
No, no, I have not been on the behind the bar, but I have attended the court. I have seen a hearing happen, and I could make no sense of what they were trying to say. They were like alien people talking to each other. It's very
Right,
difficult to
right,
interpret, but that's awesome.
right.
Coming down from a South Indian family, staying overseas, getting into the middle of India, the heartland, Hindi heartland, trying to understand the Urdu and the pure Hindi, getting clear of all the things. I mean, this is an awesome achievement. I mean, I would have
Thank you.
shivered myself trying to do that.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
so yeah, I know it's really great. And apart from that, for all the students who think that law is just an entrance, and then you have to keep on studying, and once you get clear the paper, you are done, you can charge whatever you want. I have seen a very senior advocate who is my neighbor. He is constantly ordering books every year, and he is reading those books. So why is he doing that? Can you explain it to the students, what happens after you clear your degree if you're practicing?
Definitely. So I think law is never constant, right?
Mm,
So law is ever evolving. You have amendments and like new things being implemented every second,
yeah.
especially if you are a capital markets lawyer.
Mm,
SEBI is bringing out rules every day. So
yeah.
you have to keep yourself updated. Like
Mm,
once, because what you study in a law school is in a very restricted environment. And even there, I think people have a very wrong notion that lawyers just script things. They
yeah.
have great memory. They
Mm,
just rot learn and then they argue. That's
mm,
not how law schools function,
mm,
at least the national law schools where I studied, because there's a lot of logical reasoning and legal aptitude involved on it.
mm.
It's more of a case study based learning where
Exactly.
even in your exams, they actually give you a real case. And then, like a true lawyer, you need to think through, pull up your arguments and then utilize it and then use the sections. That's how we do it. And once you actually graduate and you pass your bar, once you're actually practicing, it's really challenging because you're actually dealing with clients and with
Mm,
people. and you need to elicit that confidence in the other
Yes,
person that okay, they can trust you. So you need to keep updating yourself every day. So once you're a lawyer, till your last breath you're reading because you need to
yeah.
keep growing your knowledge and learn, and it comes with experience. The more people you see, the more clients you see, the more you grow. So that's the life of a lawyer, and that's why probably your
Absolutely.
friend is always reading
No,
books.
he's a very senior guy, senior
Yeah,
person, but
yeah,
he still reads a lot. So I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just wondering. Soundarya, we'll just take one more question on the law side, and then we'll shift to corporate strategy.
Sure,
Um, uh,
sure.
so, if a student has to get into law, what are the different branches? You have taken corporate strategy, corporate law,
Right,
right? So, what are the
right.
other branches that people can look into?
Right. There are a couple of them. So, first is litigation. So,
Mm,
either one could decide to pursue family law, criminal law, constitution, where they actually go to the court, as you see in
mm,
these movies, and you practice. You
mm,
can join chambers of
mm,
advocates or
mm,
judges, and
mm,
then you go to the court, and that's one avenue. Second is the corporate law, which I just mentioned. Then
mm,
there is intellectual property law, where
mm,
you see these really huge tech companies like Google, Amazon fighting for their patents, copyrights, and so on. So that's one really progressing, like very interesting aspect of it. Then there is also consumer protection,
mm,
real estate. Then you have negotiation and arbitration. So there are
mm,
these set of lawyers who work for companies where usually when they're really huge companies, they don't like to go to the court because
mm.
everyone knows it might take quite some time and effort,
Yeah.
so they like to settle it out of courts. There is branch of law like negotiation and arbitration for that. Then apart from that, there is also something called air and space law, actually,
Wow.
where one of my friends has actually done a master's in it.
Mm,
It is still growing, but yeah, so like this, you have too many facets to it,
mm.
and too many wide arena, I would say, of career options you can actually pursue post the
Yeah.
degree.
Interestingly, I read somewhere that every judge in India has 40,000 pending cases. Okay, and every day,
Mhm.
at any given day,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they are compounding because we are
right.
also exploding our population every day. We have a lot of cases. We go to court for everything, so the strain on the judiciary is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Saying that, I'm from the IT background. I had some crazy thought that I should do cyber law.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
when I went to a college and I asked them, they said, you can't directly do a cyber law, you have to do your so
Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I don't have that much time to, no, I can't go back to school. I'm pretty lazy at that. So I quit. I didn't pursue it further. But given a chance, cyber law is very interesting. It is
So,
happening.
yeah.
Recently, the government of India established a couple of things, just like in the European region, you have GDPR, which is
Yes, yes, of
data
course.
privacy. So a couple of months back, I think in October, Indian government released something related to data privacy and Indian
Mm-hmm.
data privacy law. So which we had to understand because we operate in a IT industry where data is the new oil, right? So your Indian
Right,
data cannot go out. You can't bring in and massage all international data here without the
right,
right right
right,
policy and compliance. So it's
right.
interesting. Hopefully someday maybe I'll get some inspiration from you. I'll try to take up law and complete the cyber law
Yeah,
degree as well.
yes, definitely, definitely, you should.
And something which was also very interesting is that you took up corporate strategy, which is the other part of your profession and journey, and especially M&As. You worked with M&As.
Yeah.
During my when I did my MBA, I was fascinated with the subject of M&A,
Okay.
and luckily, United Breweries was doing a negotiation with DIGO at that point, and that was my assignment to find out what valuation can come in. I was very pretty close. I was doing 25 and they sold it out for 28 x.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was really interesting. I love this subject, though I don't think I'll get a chance because an IT guy, they might not even entertain me. That's another aspect. But corporate strategy is very interesting, Soundarya. Just in a very simple way, can you explain what does it mean? Why does a company need
Definitely.
corporate strategy?
Definitely. So, if I have to say it in one word, it's literally the direction a
Mm,
company must take in the
mm,
future.
mhm,
That's what corporate strategy is about.
mm,
What is my plan? Today,
mm,
I might have X revenue, X products.
mm,
Tomorrow, 5 years down the line, where should I go? Which
mm,
direction should I take? That's
mm,
what strategists do. They
mm,
sort of analyze the market, they analyze the internal capabilities, and sort of build a plan that,
mm,
hey, this is the market you should enter, this is the product you should sell, or you should just like shut this part of your
mm,
business.
mm, mm, mm.
That's essentially the essence of strategy, building a plan for the future.
Awesome, awesome. So, so trying to understand it a bit more.
Yeah.
So corporate strategy will be a department within a company.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
But,
usually, for huge companies or mid-sized companies, they have specialized departments like
mm,
corporate strategy departments. They
mm,
usually work in close relation with finance teams,
mm,
also sales and marketing teams, because they
mm,
need a lot of input from all these. At times, it's
mm,
also clubbed. They call it corporate development and strategy as well.
mm, mm.
So yeah, many names for it, but that's the essence what they do.
Right. And when a company, for example, let's take an real life example like Tesla, right?
Yeah,
Elon Musk is trying very hard to get into India and start
yeah,
manufacturing because he knows
yeah.
that his Chinese game is not going to sustain. So he wants to get
Right.
into a place where the world will be looking at, and that is India. So he is
Right.
facing a lot of problems. Okay.
True.
And as a corporate strategy professional, would Elon Musk approach your agency if you're part of an consulting firm which does corporate strategy? Will he approach your agency, or will he prefer to have his own team to deal with how to succeed in India?
Right. I think so. This highly depends on the company. So
Mm,
usually, like few companies, they almost always hire consultants. Like let's
mm,
say the big three, like McKinsey,
mm,
BCG, and so on, or they almost have their own internal departments.
mm,
I think usually nowadays there is still a preference for having this in-house
mm.
because I think the fees that these consultants charge is exorbitant,
Absolutely.
usually. So for and especially for let's say this one level below, these mid-sized companies, they can almost never afford
Mm,
to hire them or to get in their expertise and
mm,
also to share some of their maybe internal matters. So some of them, like especially these technology companies, let's say like these semiconductors or like chip making companies, they're usually very skeptical about getting some outsiders into this.
mm,
So,
mm,
considering if these two issues are very major for a company, they would always prefer to have an in house team which actually builds it for them
mm,
versus someone who's still okay with those external help and they do it. So, I would say it depends
mm,
highly on the setup and the management really of a company and what they would do. There is no
mm.
A or B or a straight cut answer to
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it is dependent. It's based on the situation you're dealing with.
Exactly.
So Soundarya, if a student wants to get into this exciting world of corporate strategy, go to the boardroom, talk with a lot of CEOs and honchos, tell them this is how they should do, and they should put their millions. And for that to happen, do they need to get 5 gold medals in law and then do corporate strategy? What is the approach?
Very, very interesting. No, they don't have to get 5 gold medals in law, definitely, but
Mhm,
a degree or a master's degree or a bachelor's combined with that in business
mhm,
definitely would be very helpful because in 90% of cases, it's usually the MBA graduates or the
yeah.
master's graduates plus or the consultants who get hired into strategy.
Mm,
So I would say a degree in business coupled with either law, finance, or economics, or any
mm,
degree in this field could help them. because again here it really depends on the kind of company one is targeting.
Mm,
Because let's say if someone is applying for a strategy based role at Google,
mm.
then they would highly prefer someone with an engineering background plus business,
Right.
with some experience in strategy, versus if you go for retail or any other sectors, they might prefer someone else, like maybe someone from a legal,
Mm,
economics or finance background. So I think it's all about how one plays their strengths. But
mm,
I think generally having that acumen about law or finance or economics right from your bachelor's just helps you a lot. Firstly, in your business degree, because a couple of subjects are similar, and secondly, even when you're applying your knowledge at work, just having that understanding of how deals go through, right?
mm,
Because as a lawyer, for example, I was an M&A lawyer. So while doing those contracts or deals, I would often see the workflow of how these deals are entered into, or
mm,
generally I would know a lot about M&A than someone maybe from a purely technical
mm.
background. So
Yeah.
I think that could help you there. But having said that, I would say, just to answer your question, yes, a degree in business, but highly depends on the target, like what
Mm.
kind of companies you're targeting, what's the role, and so on.
So suppose that's great. That's awesome. Soundarya, if I want to, I'm a student and I want to get into this field of corporate strategy, being in India, okay, and I did my regular graduation, say a BCom, which has
Right,
economics, it has finance, it has a bit of company law and all that stuff,
right,
give in small flavors, right? I have an
right,
understanding of that, and I want to do internship and learn from actual practice. Are
right.
there enough avenues in India? Would you know about it? Is there a forum where people can go and see what's happening?
In India, unfortunately, I'm not too aware,
Hmm.
but I did my master's in Australia,
Okay.
and in my university itself, there were usually portals.
Hmm.
For the kind of roles you're targeting, like
Mm,
usually for these major heads, right? Like
mm,
finance,
mm,
marketing, strategy, and sales, we would have separate portals where the
mm,
companies would often list the internship opportunities they have. For
mm,
example, in strategy, we had a couple of consulting firms who would
mm,
list their
mm.
opportunities, or like mid-sized companies who would hire junior strategy interns. So in those avenues we could directly apply. But in India, I'm not too aware if there is a sort of thing, or if actually the universities do.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I think yeah.
if it is through an university, in India, I don't think people will actually
Mm,
look at it much. But
mm-hmm.
it seems like a good business idea, right? You can set up a
Yeah.
portal and
Yeah,
take
yeah,
membership
yeah,
from all these
yeah,
universities and companies and
yeah,
create an
yeah,
aggregation. So
yeah.
it looks
But
like, yeah.
yeah, I think generally, but what has really worked for me is LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Because I think LinkedIn, because no matter how many referrals or anything I tried, I think all my successful job work or like job ventures till now have been through LinkedIn, most cases. So I think understanding how to use those keywords and searching
Hmm.
for the right role on LinkedIn really helps one, to find these hidden jobs, right? Especially because this is not a very huge industry. I would say something like the IT, where I don't know, thousands of people are hired every year, and so because these are still niche jobs, there are very few people who are hired in these roles. So I think one
Hmm.
has to put in that extra effort to really figure out where you have those opportunities, and then yeah, they should be able to find one.
Awesome. Awesome. So there is a lot of things that all our audience who are listening to this might benefit from. So
Great.
I'll conclude with the last 5 minutes, Soundarya. I'll give you a chance to explain our audience what is Mahaswana, why you started it, what is it, what is there for them if they come and try to look into Mahaswana and gain from it.
Sure, thank you so much. So essentially, Mahaswana is like a motivational journey
Mm,
to inspire young minds to help them achieve their goals. So the word Mahaswana literally means great sound.
mm,
So if we see, since generations, transmission of knowledge has almost always happened through voice or through
correct.
sound, because people did not have iPads or these fancy
Yeah, yeah.
notebooks at the time to take notes. So this sound science always excited me. And that's why I named this venture Mahaswana, because through my voice or communication, I want to
Mm.
bring a change in
Wow.
people. So, how I got this idea is essentially recently I was invited to give a speech at a cultural organization here in Kuwait,
Hmm.
and to describe generally my life journey. They asked me similar questions what you asked today about
Okay.
law and business and my what helped me, like what strategies I used in
Mm.
life. And post the speech, actually, almost everyone they came back and told me that their kids themselves they struggled to have that inner drive or motivation to achieve their goals. So
Mm.
it's not that they don't have access to technology or resources. It is at
Mm.
their fingertips today, but somehow they're struggling to find that focus or the drive. So
Mm.
that's when I decided that I should start a venture on this, because it really resonated with me, and also at the same time fulfilled my dream of starting a venture on my own, a business venture on my own. So what do I do essentially at Mahaswana is build motivational courses
Hmm.
filled with engaging videos and like exercises. It's an e-course. It's completely remote. One can do at their own pace, at their own
Hmm.
time. There's no force.
Mm.
And these videos are not typical cliche statements or these pep talks. We say, hey, hard work is super important. Wake
Mhm.
up at 5 a.m., take bath, plan a timetable, which hardly resonates with current generation.
Mhm.
Instead, they're filled with stories and real world examples so that it ignites a child's curiosity, right, on what's happening. And these exercises also move away from like today's generic quizzes with
Mhm.
3 4 options and then you just have to choose one. Instead, they are mingled with like these daily activities or activities which a student usually has in his or her daily routine, and try to club them and try to inculcate motivation as a habit than just some momentary boost. So as a starting point, I'm launching one course which
Mhm.
is targeted specifically towards high school students and first to second year university students, which
Oh.
is basically helping them understand like the 9 core principles which are essential for them to understand or inculcate in their life to achieve their goals. So that's the idea behind it. And I also plan to launch more courses specifically targeted towards students, and then also expand later to other segments if everything goes well. So, yeah, that's, I think, a very brief summary or information overload
No, no, no,
about
no. That's
Mahaswana.
perfect. That's very
Yeah,
crisp, and thank you for sharing that, Soundarya.
thank you.
For the audience, Mahaswana is available on Mahaswana website, which I'll post the link,
Yeah,
as well as Soundarya does a lot of YouTube short clips,
yeah,
which I'll also share her YouTube channel on in the description of this video. You can look at those clips and understand what she is trying to bring forward and how it can benefit you. Soundarya, is this only in English or do you plan to do it in local languages as well? I know you speak
uh,
Telugu.
yeah. So at the moment, it's only in English, which I have
Mhm.
started off, but I definitely plan to expand it in Telugu as well as Hindi for
Very good.
wider reach
Yeah,
amongst
definitely.
everyone. Mm,
Definitely. So that's what I did. I wrote a book in English because that's like a language that I'm very well versed with. My Telugu is horrible. I can't read and write. Hindi is okay. I can read and write, but I can't publish a book as such. So I have taken the
right.
help of Google Maharaj. I translated into a couple of languages, local
Right.
languages, because I think
Right.
English is not something which will echo with everyone.
True. True.
And people will love to read something in their local language as well.
True.
So
True.
your videos in
Definitely.
Telugu, Hindi will reach a lot of audience, and I wish you all the best
Thank
in
you.
Mahaswana. I hope that you touch a million lives, a million students in that way. And thank you for giving your special, precious time to us. And
Thank
I
you.
hope the
Yeah,
audience will get inspired. I'm inspired. I want to do law
thank
now,
you.
and I want to get into M&A as well.
Right. Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I think this is really an amazing initiative that you've started.
Thank you.
It really helps build awareness among students, I think,
Yeah.
as well as parents,
Yeah.
right, about the wide arena of career choices we have
Exactly.
today. and really teaches one that they must choose a career based on their passion and not because of what people around them are actually doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I do is, and what inspired me to do these series is, I go to government schools and junior colleges and all. I talk about career options. I don't do career guidance. I talk about
Right,
career
right,
options. So when
right,
I reach out to children, the first question I'll ask is, please tell me what you want to be. And I write the different professions they tell me, and then I'll start using what they have told me. And then usually what I see is they'll come up with maximum of 15 professions, because they
right,
they are not aware of other things.
right, right,
So that
right,
gives me a chance to expand their understanding. And I can't be
right.
an expert in everything, so I thought I'll take the help of all experts in their various domains and create this YouTube series which people can watch. So once
Wonderful.
again, thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day and all the best with Maswana and your career. Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. You too.
I
Bye
forgot my
bye.
German. I forgot my German. Auf Wiedersehen, is it? Or did I
Auf
Wiedersehen?
Wiedersehen. Auf
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen. Yeah.
Okay.
Auf
Okay.
Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Right.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.